the Bengals win a Monday Night Football game. Evan McPherson hit the 48-yard field goal in extra bonus time as Cincinnati wins the game. But the outcome of the game is secondary to the sidebar that became the lead story. This was supposed to be the sidebar with Trevor Lawerence. Jacksonville losing the services of Trevor Lawerence. Snap, crackle, pop. A right ankle injury late in the fourth quarter. The initial diagnosis, a sprained ankle. Lawerence spotted in a boot. He had the booty on. He had the boot and the crutches and all that. Trevor Lawerence going to have an MRI on Tuesday. Remember, the initial reports are often wrong on these things. You might recall when Joe Burrow got hurt, the reporting was, well, he's dodged the season-ending injury, and then the next day they're like, yeah, psych, he's out for the year. So let us discuss the question as we talk about the story within the story here, the situation at quarterback in Jacksonville. The question, are the Jaguars cooked without Trevor Lawerence? So I've got oven-baked, booster rocket, and Andy Warhol. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make some heartburn medicine, which is what the Jaguars need at this point here. They need something. They need that pink drink is what they need. So, Doug Peterson, we'll start with this. Now, Doug Peterson said after the game that he has 100% confidence in someone named C.J. Beathard as the quarterback going forward. Now, we imagine his nose was growing while he said this, Doug Peterson, but just to prove I am not making this up, here is Doug Peterson, the head coach in Jacksonville, talking about his backup quarterback, C.J. Beathard. Let's go to the audio tape.
Well, yeah, we'll see where Trevor's at first, and but listen, we got 100% confidence in CJ. I mean, he did a nice job, getting us down the field there and tying the football game. Should have been the game-winning field goal, but it wasn't. Got a lot of confidence in CJ, and he's a veteran player. He's played a lot of football, and if he happens to be the guy, then we get behind him and support him.
That's, if you want to know what it sounds like when someone's lying, there you go. That pregnant pause there where he's contemplating the time-space continuum in the middle of that. So Trevor Lawerence is the franchise, and not that Lawerence had been playing amazing. He had stretches. Spotty, bipolar quarterback play from Trevor Lawerence where he'd look good for a couple of games and then have the El Stinko. And in this game, he looked pretty good, not amazing. It's like he doesn't have that afterburner, but now he doesn't have healthy ankles, which is a problem. And he's out. If he's out for the season or a big chunk of what's left of the regular season, as we head into a week 14 now, it's turn out the lights, the party's over. See you later. So C.J. Beathard, for anything more than a cameo, like a cameo of Beathard, you're like, okay, a game here, a game there. You can catch lightning in a bottle from that football factory of offensive football, Iowa, the Iowa Hawkeyes. And that's where he went to college many years ago. Many years ago, he's been bouncing around, toiling with the 49ers and the Jaguars in the NFL. The talent is there, right? The talent is there in terms of the playmakers on offense. But Jacksonville, they've just been something off. There's something off with I mean, they've won 8 games, so I just expected more. I had higher expectations, much higher expectations. And up next, we assume Lawerence is going to miss at least a couple of games based on the fact that he was on crutches after this game on Monday night. So that would present at the Browns. The Browns have a top defense at home and a horrible defense on the road. I saw the Browns on Sunday against the L.A. Rams, and the Browns defense did not impress me at all. But at home, they've got great numbers. And so C.J. Beathard against the Browns, good luck on that. And then assuming that Lawerence misses a game after that, they play the Ravens. So that's loss for the Jacksonville football team. How long will Trevor Lawerence be out? Well, he has a sprained ankle. That's the initial reporting. But there's all kinds of various sprained ankles. And you don't need me to tell you. Just go to WebMD. I've done some research here. There's the high ankle sprain. There's the regular sprain. The fact that you needed crutches would indicate that this is more than just your normal, common, run-of-the-mill situation. Now, turning the page here, who benefits? Who is the beneficiary of the Monday Night Football outcome? We say, well, the Bengals, they won the game. They're not going to the playoffs. At the time we are doing the show right now, at the time we are chatting, the answer is all about Kansas City. They get the old booster rocket. Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs get the booster rocket because they blew the game. They never led against the Packers. They just didn't show up for that game on Sunday night. Kansas City gets a break because the start of the weekend, we knew going into the weekend with the Ravens not playing, they were on the bye week in Week 13. You had the Dolphins, the Jags, and the Chiefs who all could win and move up the standings, take advantage of the bye week, and the only team that did was the Miami Dolphins. They're the only ones moving up, so they obviously benefit. But you look at the wide-angle lens here, and Kansas City not showing up against the Packers, but they're okay because now Jacksonville without Trevor Lawerence, and at this moment, it's like the Wheel of Fortune. You spin the Wheel of Fortune at the very top there of the AFC standings because you've got the number one seed is the Miami Dolphins because of their win. They move up to the number one seed. The Ravens go to the number 2 seed, and the Chiefs are at number 3, Jacksonville at number 4. And a lot of teams flummoxed by the middle part. It's not even the middle part. It's getting late in the season here. We're getting towards the stretch run, but the NFL is up for grabs. We say that every year. Now, I could still argue that if you gave me 5 teams to pick, I could pick the 5 teams that would be, or 6 teams that would be in the Super Bowl, some combination of those 6 teams. But with Trevor Lawerence getting injured and likely out for at least a few games, if not the rest of the season, with an ankle injury, which seems pretty bad, so you can now put an X through Jacksonville, so you get rid of them. And then you start looking around, you're like, well, I can make arguments against every one of the teams in the AFC. I can make a compelling argument that none of the teams are going to win anything in the AFC. Kansas City has wide receivers that have the dropsies. They got Butterfingers at wide receiver. Defense is good, but the playmakers are not there on offense for Mahomes. The Ravens have a guy that's the king of suck in big games in Lamar Jackson. How many playoff games does this guy have to ride the vomit comet before people figure that out? The Dolphins are not battle-tested. They don't beat anybody any good. So you go down the top, you're like, okay, well, somebody's going to end up going to the Super Bowl. One of those teams is going to go there. But none of them are invincible. The only team that's close to invincible is the 49ers, but they lost to the Cleveland Browns because they got a system quarterback. So if those guys around Brock Purdy get hurt, they're screwed. He can't make up for the loss of a receiver like Deebo Samuel. All right, now last word here. Was a star born for the Bengals backup Jake Browning? So, yes, until proven otherwise, right? Until proven otherwise, Jake Browning had a Andy Warhol kind of a night. It was his not 15 minutes of fame. In this case, it was close to 70 minutes of fame because the game went to overtime, almost went all the way to the end of overtime. But the Bengals finished with 491 yards of offense. They converted 8 of 14 on third down. Browning looked like he was back playing for the Huskies. And he had that one amazing year in college for Chris Peterson and just outstanding. And that's what he looked like. It was surgical. In fact, to use a better analogy, it was like Thanksgiving and carving a turkey. In this case, Jake Browning was carving a Jaguar. He averaged almost 10 yards per pass. Now, that was a lot of dink and dunk and get the ball to the playmakers, but it worked. He converted almost 87% of his passes here. Jamar Chase targeted 12 times. He caught 11 of them for 149 yards. This job is not that difficult. It's not that hard. Just get the ball out to the playmakers. Now, was it beginner's luck? Wasn't his first start. He played against the Steelers the week prior there. Time will tell. But the Jags sure looked lousy in terms of defense. And they've been pretty mediocre defensively all season. They're ranked in around 25th in most defensive statistics. And they back that up by making Jake Browning look like a total stud out there.